When Journey to the Center of the Earth descended into theaters in 1959, audiences expected a straightforward adventure adaptation. What they got was far stranger. A subterranean epic featuring real iguanas dressed as dinosaurs, a rogue duck causing production chaos, and Pat Boone's dissolving pants. From James Mason learning Icelandic phonetically to giant mushrooms made from kitchen sponges and indoor rain created by pure accident, Journey to the Center of the Earth is packed with bizarre production secrets. These are 15 weird facts about Journey to the Center of the Earth, where Jules Verne's imagination collided with Hollywood's creative problem-solving. Before we descend into the depths, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so others can discover these classic adventure secrets. And trust me, the wild production stories ahead are worth the journey. Now let's explore the Earth together. Number 1. The dinosaurs were real lizards in costume. Fox made a bold decision that would horrify modern animal rights activists. Instead of using stop-motion or miniatures, they dressed actual rhinoceros iguanas in rubber dinosaur costumes. Real living animals had rubber fins and spikes glued onto their bodies, then were filmed in forced perspective to appear massive. The lizards had no idea they were supposed to be prehistoric monsters. They just wandered around confused while cameras rolled. Handlers spent hours coaxing them into frame, trying to make disoriented reptiles look threatening. The effect is simultaneously impressive and deeply uncomfortable when you realize those aren't puppets. They're genuine creatures being forced to wear ridiculous rubber accessories for cinematic dinosaur glory. Number 2. Pat Boone kept his shirt off to appeal to teenage girls. The studio was determined to sell Boone as a heartthrob, which meant manufacturing every possible excuse for him to be shirtless. His character spent inexplicably long sequences stripped to the waist in underground caverns. There's no logical reason for it. They're supposedly deep underground where temperatures would vary wildly, yet Boone struts around like he's at a beach photo shoot. The studio knew exactly what they were doing. They weren't making a Jules Verne adaptation for adventure fans. They were selling teen idol fantasies wrapped in Victorian exploration aesthetics. Boone's physique became as much a selling point as the giant mushrooms and lava flows. Number 3. Boone's pants dissolved during filming. The flooding sequence created an unexpected wardrobe disaster. Boone's costume was made from material that looked authentic on camera but had a fatal flaw. It disintegrated when wet. As water rushed through the set, his pants literally began dissolving on his body. He felt the fabric turning to mush mid-take and had to scramble off camera before he was left completely exposed. The crew erupted in laughter while wardrobe frantically searched for replacement costumes. Imagine trying to maintain dramatic tension while your clothing chemically breaks down around you. Somehow Boone maintained his composure, though the final cut carefully avoids showing exactly how close to disaster that sequence came. Number 4. James Mason openly hated the dinosaur costumes. One of cinema's most distinguished actors found himself sharing scenes with iguanas in rubber suits. Mason made no secret of his feelings. He complained loudly that they looked ridiculous, which they absolutely did. Yet professional pride kicked in. Despite his contempt for the creatures, Mason delivered one of his most compelling performances, playing Professor Lindenbrook with perfect Victorian authority. He refused to let silly production choices compromise his craft. It's a masterclass in actor discipline, treating absurd material with complete seriousness. Mason understood that if he acknowledged the ridiculousness, the entire film would collapse. So he played it straight, elevated the material through sheer commitment, and proved that good acting can sell even the most questionable creative decisions. Number 5. The Chasm set created its own weather system. The massive underground set became an accidental climate experiment. Production pumped in enormous amounts of fog, heat, and steam to create atmospheric depth and volcanic ambiance. They didn't account for basic physics. All that moisture had nowhere to go. It rose to the soundstage ceiling, condensed, and began falling as actual rain. The crew created weather indoors. Actors performed dramatic Jules Verne dialogue while genuine precipitation dripped from studio rafters. It added unexpected authenticity. The cavern really did feel humid and alive, but it also created continuity nightmares. One take would be dry, the next soaking wet, all from the same artificial atmosphere cycling through condensation phases. Number 6. Iceland was actually California. Despite the story's Icelandic setting, very little was filmed there. Most volcanic scenery came from Carlsbad Caverns and Bronson Canyon, both California locations that could double for underground chambers without expensive overseas production. Audiences never questioned it. The caves looked appropriately mysterious and alien, which was all that mattered. It's a reminder that movie magic relies on convincing illusion rather than geographic accuracy. Why spend money on international location shoots when you can find equally dramatic scenery a few hours' drive away? The film proved that with good lighting and set dressing, California caves could pass for Icelandic volcanic tunnels without anyone noticing the deception. We're halfway through this subterranean expedition, but the wildest production secrets are still ahead. from fainting heartthrobs to accidental explosions and a duck that nearly destroyed everything. If you're enjoying these behind-the-scenes stories from classic adventure cinema, hit that like button and drop a comment about which fact surprised you most. Your engagement helps us uncover more forgotten movie magic. Alright, let's return to the center of the Earth. Number 7. Gertrude the duck was chaos incarnate. Someone decided a live duck would add charm to the expedition. Gertrude had other plans. She refused to follow direction, wandered off constantly, and ruined countless takes by waddling directly into frame at the worst possible moments. Once she nearly walked into an active effects rig that could have seriously injured her. Handlers scrambled to intercept her mid-waddle. The crew learned to keep cameras rolling because you never knew when Gertrude would do something unexpectedly perfect. Most of her best moments were complete accidents. She became the film's most unpredictable performer, a feathered agent of chaos that no amount of training could control. Number 8. The drilling cart actually worked. When the script called for a dramatic lava flow escape using a wheeled drilling cart, the production team went the extra mile. They built a full-size cart that genuinely moved under its own power. Hidden motors drove the contraption, allowing it to roll convincingly through the set without visible wires or crew pushing from behind. It added authentic weight and momentum to the sequence. The actors weren't pretending to ride something stationary while the camera moved. They were actually on a moving vehicle navigating studio terrain at surprising speeds. The engineering effort paid off in kinetic energy that's impossible to fake with stationary props. Number 9. The giant mushroom forest was made from kitchen sponges. Those enormous otherworldly fungi filling the cavern had decidedly mundane origins. The art department carved and painted hundreds of massive kitchen sponges, transforming everyday cleaning supplies into alien vegetation. The sponges had perfect texture, porous and organic, photographing beautifully under dramatic lighting. Cast and crew joked about working in the world's largest dishwashing commercial. The sweet absurdity of it, spending thousands of dollars to create a fantastical underground ecosystem using materials you could buy at any grocery store. Sometimes the best movie magic comes from recognizing that ordinary objects, when scaled up and lit properly, become extraordinary. Number 10. James Mason learned Icelandic phonetically. The script required Mason to deliver dialogue in Icelandic, a language he didn't speak at all. He learned every line phonetically, memorizing sounds without understanding their meaning. He had absolutely no idea what he was saying. He could have been reciting grocery lists or Icelandic folk songs for all he knew, yet he delivered the lines with complete conviction, trusting that accurate pronunciation would sell the authenticity. It's another example of Mason's professionalism, committing fully to material even when he couldn't comprehend it. The performance proves that good actors can sell anything through sheer vocal control and confidence. Number 11. Military aircraft lights created underground sunlight. The mysterious glowing cavern required powerful illumination that standard studio lighting couldn't provide. The solution came from military surplus. Production acquired aircraft landing lights, massive high-intensity rigs designed to guide planes during night operations. They repurposed this military-grade equipment to create the eerie underground luminescence. The lights were so powerful they had to carefully manage actor exposure to avoid eye damage, but the effect was stunning. An otherworldly glow that suggested mysterious energy sources deep within the Earth. Sometimes the best special effects come from borrowing technology from completely unrelated industries and applying it in unexpected ways. Number 12. Pat Boone fainted from extreme heat. The lava tunnel sequence pushed the limits of human endurance. Stage temperatures exceeded 120 degrees Fahrenheit as effects rigs pumped heat to simulate volcanic conditions. Boone collapsed between takes, his body simply giving out under the extreme temperature. Medics revived him while the crew adjusted ventilation and reduced some of the heat effects. But there was only so much they could do. The sequence required genuine heat to look convincing. Boone recovered and finished the scene, though he later admitted it was one of the most physically punishing experiences of his acting career. Sometimes authenticity demands genuine suffering. Number 13. An effects charge exploded early. Special effects work is always dangerous, and this production learned that lesson dramatically. One explosive charge detonated before its cue, blasting a chunk of rock prop across the set like shrapnel. Crew members dove for cover as debris flew overhead. Fortunately, nobody was seriously injured, but it was a terrifying near miss that reminded everyone they were working with genuine explosives in confined spaces. After that incident, safety protocols tightened considerably. The accidental detonation made it into Hollywood safety training programs as an example of what can go wrong when timing mechanisms fail. What made the incident particularly frightening was how close the actors had been just moments before. James Mason had literally walked past that exact spot less than a minute earlier, heading to his mark for the next take. The timing was pure luck. If the charge had blown 30 seconds sooner, one of cinema's greatest actors could have been seriously injured or worse. The effects supervisor responsible was reportedly devastated, even though the malfunction was traced to a faulty electrical connection rather than human error. But the near catastrophe changed how the production approached every subsequent explosion. They doubled the safety distances, added redundant timing checks, and made sure actors were never in the blast zone until charges were completely disarmed and cleared. It's sobering to think how differently film history might have turned out if that timing had been just slightly worse. Number 14. The T-Rex roar was donkeys, lions, and cello. Sound designers faced a challenge, creating prehistoric creature sounds without any real reference. Their solution was brilliant sonic layering. They recorded donkey brays for that distinctive bellow, mixed in lion roars for aggressive power, then added distorted cello recordings to create unnatural resonance. The combination produced something genuinely alien, a sound that felt ancient and threatening without being identifiable to any living animal. It's audio alchemy, transforming ordinary sounds into something extraordinary through creative mixing. Modern audiences take creature sound design for granted, but this was pioneering work, establishing techniques that would influence monster movies for decades. The cello edition was particularly inspired. By slowing down and pitch-shifting bowed string instruments, the sound team created low-frequency rumbles that suggested something massive and primal. The distorted harmonics added layers that biological sounds alone couldn't achieve, frequencies that feel wrong somehow, unsettling in ways that bypass rational thought and trigger instinctive fear responses. When you hear that roar, part of your brain registers it as living and threatening, while another part recognizes something fundamentally unnatural about it. That cognitive dissonance is what makes it so effective. It's not just loud or aggressive, it's alien in the truest sense, a sound that shouldn't exist in nature but feels utterly convincing within the film's reality. The technique proved so successful that elements of this approach would be borrowed and refined for decades of monster movies to follow. Number 15. The original ending featured prehistoric humans. An early script draft went even further into speculative territory. The expedition was supposed to encounter living prehistoric humans surviving underground, a lost civilization that had never evolved beyond Stone Age technology. The studio looked at this concept and decided it was too unbelievable, which is hilarious given everything else in the film. They had no problem with dressed-up iguanas or giant sponge mushrooms, but prehistoric humans crossed some invisible believability line. The scene was cut before filming, leaving only hints of what might have been. Sometimes the wildest ideas get rejected while only slightly less wild ideas make it to screen, reminding us that movie logic operates on its own peculiar rules. The decision actually improved the film's pacing. Adding another major discovery would have cluttered the finale and distracted from the volcanic escape sequence that provides such a thrilling climax. But you have to wonder what that sequence would have looked like. Would they have cast actors in caveman makeup, used the same forced perspective tricks they employed for the dinosaurs? The production documents show concept sketches of primitive humans living in firelit caves, hunting blind underground creatures, speaking in guttural languages the explorers couldn't understand. It would have added another layer of wonder but also another layer of absurdity to a film already walking a fine line between adventure and camp. The studio executives who vetoed the idea probably made the right call, even if their reasoning was hilariously inconsistent. Sometimes knowing what to cut is just as important as knowing what to include. The film works because it knows when to stop piling on fantastical elements and focus on getting our heroes back to the surface alive. Journey to the Center of the Earth wasn't just another Jules Verne adaptation. It was Hollywood problem-solving at its most creative, dressing lizards in costumes, building weather systems by accident, and solving every challenge with whatever materials happened to be available. The film survived dissolving pants, duck chaos, and actual explosions to deliver adventure that still entertains decades later. If you enjoyed exploring these hidden production secrets, make sure to subscribe because the next journey through classic cinema's strangest corners is coming soon.